devo tradurre.
No, no.
No, ascolta lei.
Però tu lo devi sentire.
No, io devo sentire solo quello che dicono
Sì,
qua.
è vero.
Ah, ok, hai ragione.
Ok?
Allora
Ok.
aspetta, bisogna mutare il
No.
nostro audio.
No, no.
Questi cambiamenti però meglio saperli prima. Ok. Perché noi in Zoom possiamo fare solo on off, non possiamo decidere chi parla con chi. Conferma.
Parlano su Zoom.
Perché su Zoom
Quanto si servisse lì?
ma noi dobbiamo mutarci su Zoom perché sennò loro sentono noi e lei. E questa è la cosa. Scusami Alice, se però iniziamo su Zoom sentono sia noi che loro. Quindi aspettiamo che finiscano. E questa è la cosa. Si può disattivando il microfono. Però si può prima. Siamo proprio in ritardo.
Buongiorno a tutti e benvenuti alla nostra masterclass di Confagricoltura Italy Must Have. Quest'oggi scopriremo territori
We'll
diversi.
discover different areas. In Italy, of course, we'll talk about local products, styles, traditions, innovation, and we will talk about local grapes, as it is the undiscussed queen of varieties, more than 800 in 20 regions. Before we start, though you already have wine in your glasses, I would like to thank Confagricoltura. For the third year in a row, they are members of Milano Wine Week, representing wine. And Confagricoltura is an Italian institute, and they've always represented many SMEs, also in agriculture. So I would like to thank especially them because they gave us the opportunity to organize this masterclass together with Wine Week. I am Alessandro Caporali. I'm your wine educator for today. I am ice sommelier and I work with Cristina Mercuri in wine. Today we have very interesting wineries from everywhere in Italy. This time we don't start from the north, but we start from the south, Sicily. Even further south, we will start from Pantelleria, which is a beautiful island. I don't know if you've ever been there. It's a very, very special island, also in terms of terroir. The winery that we meet is called Tenute Prosit. You already have their white wine in your glass. It's a white wine that comes 80% Zibibbo grape, 20% local grapes from Sicily. So small grape varieties are grown there. They're special because they like to change their blend. Zibibbo is a grape which grows in such a warm area. Sicily and Italia have a very, very hot summer and very dry summer. We are closer to Africa than to Italy. The cultivation of Zibibbo of this wine variety in Pantelleria is blending, which is the classic production system of this vine. It's very low soil in order to avoid the strong winds. Pantelleria is an island, so we always have winds. The most important element to point out in this grape is its perfume, its floral notes, pure fruit, white pulp, white flesh, especially apricot, peach, yellow fruit. I feel many flowers like magnolia, jasmine. So it's an extremely perfumed wine, extremely pleasant, with this note on the palate. Taste it. Which is savory. This savoriness and this meat and acidity remain in your mouth, a very, very long finish. It goes very well with all the traditional from Pantelleria. For example, Pantese salad, potatoes, onions, olives, so a very rich salad, or even pasta dishes, starters. It's a very, very interesting wine, very perfumed. And it's the start of our journey. Local grape variety. Zibibbo is another grape that is very much used for ripening. It's very much used for sweet wines. The most famous is Passito di Pantelleria. If you have the chance, try it because it's a dessert wine. to serve it cold with a Sicilian cannolo. It's the perfect match. Excellent. Second thing, okay, now we move from the south to the north. It's a typical area for the production of white wine. Well, it's one of my favorite areas, Friuli Venezia Giulia, near Pordenone. This growing winemaking and special for the production of white wines. We have the mountain range of the Carnic Alps in the north, while from the south we feel the influence of the Adriatic Sea, which freshens the vines, while the mountains act as a sort of shield from the cold wines coming from the north. I will introduce wine shortly, and this area is near the Tagliamento River. So it's alluvional soil, it's clay, but there are very many white stones, those sort of pebbles. So this is a typical soil of this area, these white stones which are polished by the wind and the sea. It's typical, and we will understand with the producer how they affect the variety that we will present. Now I would like to introduce you to I Magredi. It's a Grave winery. We can open the connection with Elena and Massimiliano. Good morning, Elena. Good morning, Massimiliano.
Buongiorno,
Good morning to you all. Good morning and welcome.
grazie.
I have introduced I Magredi, your winery. I don't want to say anything in advance, but behind you we see the which speaks for itself. I think we are going to the video now. If you can briefly introduce your winery, and then we will taste Pinot Grigio together. We can you can say something about its character and it stands out versus other wines from the area. Absolutely. Massimiliano and myself are here with the commercial area, but Massimiliano is also a technical expert, so he knows our wines more than I do. Said Alessandra, our winery is a special area between three different rivers, and for this reason, our terroir is different. We have white stones, this gravel, which provide the specific aromas and mineral features to our wines. This is our circular vineyard where we produce Sauvignon Blanc. This vineyard is a sort of element of for us. We are very proud of it. We organize very many events, tasting sessions. Going back to the winery, we were established in the late 1960s. We apologize. We are in office. And the winery is a business. And now I think we can taste the wine Pinot Grigio 2021 vintage.
Bene, posso dire magari
Maybe I can say some introductory remarks on the winemaking and technical objectives and commercial objectives. We produce, as Elena said, and as you anticipated, Alessandro, we are in an area which is very special for the production of white wines in Friuli Venezia Giulia. We also make red wines, but white wines are the best outcome of this area. These white wines have a rather thin light wines with average alcohol levels 12.5 degrees of alcohol. So they're very easy to drink and very elegant. Many perfumes and aromas flowers, fruit, balsamic notes. And then when you taste the wine, you will talk about it. And light minerality on the palate. So a lot of between acid, salt, and alcohol. So it's a very easy to drink wine. Winemaking, traditional white winemaking. Yesterday it was asked to me by my colleagues connected to the US, there is no maceration for this wine. Pinot Grigio could have a stronger color. We don't have maceration, so the skins are removed from the press, and all the following stages in stainless steel vats, keeping perfumes and aromas unchanged, because this is the main objective. We work at low temperatures in order to keep those aromas as much as possible. This wine should be drunk in 1-2 years. Other wines don't really last very long because they are young, fresh, and have a very balance in terms of taste and aromas. Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm it now, and I must say that it's a very pleasant wine, also at 10 o'clock in the morning. So I'm sure I will easily drink it as an aperitif for lunch, or even later, together with fish, maybe. Any special dishes from Italy that you would pair it with, above and beyond the usual pairings with Pinot Gris? If there are some recipes go to Friuli, I try some things like frico. What would you pair it with? Well, let's say the Pinot Gris is essentially a wine for fish. So I would use it for fish cooked in salt, or spaghetti alla busara. It's a typical dish in Veneto and Friuli, with pasta and mussels and crustaceans. This could be two excellent combinations going to traditions. So we will definitely try it. Definitely try this combination. Any follow-up questions from the audience or from Tokyo? So the pairing would be perfect with sea bass. So what would happen to your wine if we go above and to so that we recommend drinking? So if we open it for 5 years, what would happen? What would we find in our? So we need to talk about chemistry. We talk about wines in general. I always say that wine is the combination of 3 sciences: chemistry, physics, and biology. These 3 sciences interact in wine. In a nutshell, in 4 years, there will be changes in this wine in terms of color, because the color will move from straw yellow to golden yellow. In terms of tasting, maybe more mature fruit, cooked fruit, as would lose its freshness, so it would become more saline, and also on the palate the balance would change. This would become a softer wine and a less fresh and acid wine. Of course, the wine will be drinkable anyway, but it will its
diciamo, espressione massima del territorio. Ecco perché ho detto
which expression of the area. That's why I said that these wines should be drunk fresh. Of course, you can drink them later, but they would lose their features in terms of freshness and taste. We always say that when we recommend drinking times, there's a curve, so there's a growth, peak, and then you go down. Of course, there will not collapse, but it's the recommended curve for the drinking and aging time. And we are going to see it with the red wine.
alla domanda.
But it was a perfect answer to the question.
Giusto, perché lei è in America, giusto?
You are in America, aren't you? London. So, rightly said, they're making questions, thinking about selling the wine. Yes, of course. Of course, very right.
Prima di salutarvi io vorrei
Before saying goodbye, I would like to say
occasione di andare.
that this is a really beautiful winery in Friuli. If you have a chance to go there, it's a beautiful area with many castles and medieval town. It's a very special area. I always recommend people coming from abroad. Friuli is not a really, it's off the beaten track. Everybody goes to Venice, Rome, Florence, Tuscany, Piedmont. I don't know why Friuli is forgotten. Please go to Friuli. It's a magic area, and there are very many beautiful places and beautiful small towns. It's a great discovery. Thank you very much for being with us, and soon. Thank you. Goodbye.
Allora, prima di passare al mondo dei rossi,
Over to the red wines, I would like to ask a few questions to interact with you.
a chi è piaciuto di più
Who liked the first one most?
diverse mani,
Well, quite a few ones. And who liked the second wine the most?
da questa parte nessuno si esprime. Diciamo maggioranza verso
Well, most of you to the back.
un vino diciamo con più freschezza.
Some like a fresher, more mineral wine with citrus note.
Forse è un po' più nella vostra mente.
Pinot Gris is something that you know more, while the wine from Pantelleria is richer, is more joyous, more enjoyable. There's a lot of fruit, a lot of flowers, so aromas are more intense and more complex.
Non ci sono domande nemmeno da Tokyo, posso
If there are no questions for Tokyo, I think we can continue with the red wines.
iniziando a servirli.
They're being served.
Io vi introduco una cantina. Allora,
And now a winery, a very special region, which is in the headlines now, but until a few decades ago it was not so famous in the wine industry. It's Molise. The main grape variety is Tintilia. Tintilia is a grape variety that grows very well in this area. It's a small region in the center of Italy. And in this for our friends, we are called Puglia, and with Campania, Lazio, and Marche. So exposure to the Adriatic Sea and Apennines on the one side, and exposure to the Adriatic Sea on the other side. Those vines are kissed by the sun, as the winery that introduced state, and that's why Tintilia del Molise exceptionally. This evening, I would like to introduce to you this young winery, Tenimenti Grieco, and today we speak with Flavia. Flavia, can you hear me? Yes.
Buongiorno, benvenuti.
Hi. Good morning. Welcome. Here we are. Yes, you've already beautiful introduction. Thank you very much for it. We start from the assumption already said that I deal with the commercial sector, with foreign markets, and it's very difficult. It's a constant fight to try and make ourselves known. However, we are making a lot of success, very happy. While we are small and unknown, over the years, thanks to the quality of our wines, we are achieving good success. Tenimenti Greco, as you said, unlike the Italian wine making industry where there's a lot of history, many families, a lot of heritage, we are exactly the opposite. We are outsiders because we're young. In 2013, Antonio Grieco, whose name is in the winery, this because of his passion, he comes from a totally different world. He decided to buy 8 hectares of vineyards very close to the sea. We are very proud of them. This is the position of our vineyards on the sea. And so we began with this adventure. A female winemaker, young winemaker, studied the wines, and in the first 2 years they worked in Italy. After 2 years we began expanding internationally. Now we produce 400,000 bottles, so we are not that small for Molise. We are bordering with very many Italian regions, and in the past we were part of Abruzzo, the region Abruzzo Molise. It's a sort of melting pot. Molise, it's a melting pot of cultures, of traditions, and this is reflected in the wine. Productions of white, we have Falanghina, red wines, Montepulciano and Aglianico. And we also have incredible, which is our local group, which is Tintilia. A couple of words. The wine that you will taste with Alessandria, this is our flagship wine. Called it 200 because based on the technical specifications, this grape variety cannot be cultivated below 200 meters of altitude. It's a very, very ancient grape variety which went completely forgotten. No one was using it, or it was used just for friends, but never 100%. And it was rediscovered around 15 years ago. And we have the DCO, Tintilia del Molise, and we have a very strict rule in the technical specifications. And very many producers have not been able to make Tintilia. Specifically, our vineyards are at 300 meters above sea level, and our production is not that small, around 20,000 bottles of Tintilia per year. The main feature of this grape, which is difficult to compare to any other red grape, saying globally, it's really unique, and it's spice. You will feel red fruit, various red fruits, but the main feature is spice, and particularly black pepper. During wine making, sometimes we go through the vats and you feel this very, very strong aroma of pepper in the air. It's a beautiful feeling. We make 100% grape. All our wines are 100% single variety wines, and we are not using anything that may change it, that may affect its main features. So no wood, no oak, only vat, only steel, and only 100% Tintilia. And now the tasting session. Well, what I like the most in Tintilia is perfume on the immediate. It's very direct and it's consistent on the palate. It's coherent. When you feel it and then taste it, the entire bouquet that you felt on the nose is also present on the palate. So, and I was surprised to know that there's only still, because those types of spice, like clove, black pepper, only come from oak aging. So this is a feature of the grape. And as you felt on the palate, its tannins are complex, but always very well balanced. They remain on the top of the palate, never aggressive. They're always very elegant, silky and velvety. So it's very pleasant on the nose and also on the palate. Long finish. And it's a wine which is also very versatile in terms of pairings. How would you pair it? Is there a specific dish from the Molise that you would put it together, that you would pair it with? Well, if we need to stay in Molise, just to think that Molise is a land of hunters, of the sea, but there's also a lot of countryside, very rustic, very rough. So regionally, there's a lot of game, like wild boar, very rich stews, like lamb stew. And these are the local dishes. If you come to Molise, you will find in many restaurants. When we go outside the region, everything that has to do with very rich salamis or cold cuts of types and grilled meat with a wonderful steak, some fresh tintiglia is a perfect match. Thank you very much. Any questions for this first red wine that we tasted? We started red wines from Molise, so I would like to thank Flavia for being with us. Thank you. So have a good day. Enjoy. Thank you very much.
Avete provato la tintiglia, adesso ci spostiamo in Campania, quindi continuiamo il viaggio nei rossi all'interno e ci spostiamo
continue with local wines. We move to the south to Campania, the land where summers are sunny and hot. But this winery is really a heroic winery. This is Marisa Cuomo. You've probably heard about it and probably tasted it already because it's very important. And its winemaking is heroic because it's on the rock and it's really overlooking the sea. We are in the Salerno Gulf. This is the area of Furore. And Marisa Cuomo and her husband, well, the lot they bought in the 1980s, 10 hectares, was a wedding, so a sort of gift of and the beginning of a new life together. And this project is bearing a lot of fruit. The red wine that we taste today, which is Ravello Rosso Riserva, is a blend of two grapes, 70%.
È 70% Piedi Rosso.
It's a 70% Piedi Rosso and 30% Aglianico.
Di questa zona.
Two local grape varieties from the area, and these grape varieties grow. It's very difficult area. The beautiful thing about Cuomo in this winery is their building, the building they made in this rock. In this rock, there are very many French barrels, and it's a wine within a rock, so it has the perfect freshness and moisture to age the wines. So there are no connections with Marisa Cuomo because they are very busy, very with the harvest. They apologize for being with us today. Let's move straight to tasting the wine. As you see, the color is more intense than Tintilia. Before it was a ruby red with a garnet hues. This is really garnet. It's more intense on the nose. On the nose, it's an explosion of red fruit, but also blackberry and jam, blackberry jam, cherry jam, plum jam. So some floral aromas, violet, rose, but fruit is particularly prominent. And we also feel nice, clove, vanilla. Let's taste. On the palate, we notice that tannins are still crying or shouting. They are very lively. This wine has a long potential, 10 to 2 years. On the palate, we feel tannins. They are quite strong, and they develop throughout the mouth. Acidity at the sides of the mouth. So this is a wine to pair with meat, like Flavia said with Tintilia. This is more full-bodied, and I would pair this wine well with grilled and also some pasta with meat sauces, maybe lasagna, some rich dishes with many flavors. Ravello is vintage 2018. Before, this is a reserve wine, so 24 months in oak. Grapes are harvested manually around the second, third week of October. Grapes are taken to the cellar. Fermentation takes place, maceration. The maceration, the wine stays in oak for more than 4 months. Unless you have questions on this wine, I would move to the next red wine. From Campania, we move south to the other side. We go to Puglia, and we go and meet a winery that was set up in the 1950s. It's a cooperative of various producers. These 68 farmers decided to join and set up this winery. We are talking about San Pietrana, the Salento area, a small town between Brindisi and Lecce. Is that right? Stefano and Maria will talk about Le Monache. Hi. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this opportunity. I would like to thank CONFAGRICOLTURA and all of you. It's a pleasure for us to bring Puglia through the spring with you and also overseas. Today we will talk about this Salice Salentino wine, Le Monache. say something about the winery first. As you were saying, the winery was set in 1952. So this year we have celebrated the 70th anniversary. So in September we had our 70th vintage. Everything went well, and we are very happy to share the information with you. As to the foundation, in the beginning, 68 wine growers, 68 beginning, decided to join and sell products together. Initially, in those years, it was only bulk wine. Now, bottled wine, and we export in 2 countries globally.
Anche ridimensionate, diciamo, la quantità dei produttori
The number of producers has grown. Now there are 2 producers to the benefit of production because we can monitor quality better. So now we strive for quality. What we would like to say is that the winery has remained its historic building planned, while grapes are in the 2 DOs, Brindisi DOC, Salice Salentino, and Squinzano. These are the 3 DCOs. Welcome all visitors to Puglia. We host visitors to us of tasting, and this wine tourism is developing more. Also, end consumers visit us also to get to know the value behind every bottle of wine or every wine. There's a lot of work behind it, and you can discover it locally when you visit the wine and when you see the vineyards. As you said before, you still have the same structure of the 1950s with all the pros and cons, because very much ahead in terms of technologies in the cellar, but it was a clear decision to keep the building as a symbol of those years where everything started. And a beautiful thing that Maria Elena told before the class is that vineyards of San Petrana were located close to a railway. And initially, in the 1950s, grapes were harvested and were loaded immediately on the train that would take the grapes to the north or elsewhere, where they would be used for various blends. So this is something that connects you to your past and to your history. Yes, now we can finally say it. Negramaro, which is the variety in today's wine, and Primitivo have finally been acknowledged in the winemaking industry. They have their own identity, which is recognized, and they are no longer simply that were used for blends in other wines, other regions. They find their expression, they pair very local food, and they are recognized and acknowledged. Now I leave the floor to Stefano, and he will say something. Stefano, can you describe the style and character of this wine? What are the features? Well, the style of the wine comes from its origins. Those vineyards have 50 years old. Those, well, this comes from a vineyard that was planted in 1970, so 52 years old. Roots are very deep, so they mango have different arrangement because they go very deep in the soil. Have flavors with various hues, which are then perfect in the cellar because the reserve harvest is manual, because with Alberello grapes you cannot harvest it with machines, so you need to look find the best grapes, and the specification of Salice Salentino DOC makes it mandatory to age the wine for additional 12 months in small barrels, because this further softens the tannins of the wine. Some Apulia have a very soft tannin. The maturation in bottle further refines it and adds a spicy note. So these wines pair very well, go very well with tasty, juicy, and also spicy dishes. For example, if I have a grilled meat, or if I have, rather than calf cheek braised in Negro Amaro, well, I would like it, or bombette. Bombette are the typical type of local food, very, very savory, and very well this wine. Now we taste the wine. I don't know if you've already tasted it. It's very complex, very structured, but it's very pleasant. It's always fresh on the palate, in the lowest part of the palate, which brings the wine to be very balanced. Never overwhelming. It's always very, very balanced. I like this wine very much, and I would like to try it with meatballs, maybe, or with other types of meat. I have a question for you. Oak barrels that you use, are they new or old? No, we use them for 3 years. So on the vintage, we don't change them every year. Also because we want to be environmentally conscious. Yes, everybody talks about environmental sustainability. So we should try and use all the resources available to the winery. It's an excellent wine. Have you got any questions for them?
Sì. Allora, noi stiamo bevendo il salice salentino.
So we are drinking Salentino. Is it the same that you showed to us? No, with a white label.
I produttori hanno iniziato.
We apologize, we cannot translate because the gentleman is not using the microphone. Can you explain this thing of the 2 labels that you made for this wine? What label do you have? Well, there are 2 labels for the American market and 1 for Europe. Yes. Well, for the American market, we have a label that mentions that there used to be 68 wine growers who established the winery. Historical label is the one with the red and golden at the center. And the other one, of 68 winemakers, was to communicate this message to the American market. Le Monache refer to the vineyard, or Le Monache is a an area around 20 kilometers from here where these are cultivated. Thank you very much, very exhaustive.
Avete altre domande per
Any more questions
che ci seguono da Puglia? Allora,
for our guys and friends from Puglia? Well, thank you very much for being with us, for sharing very interesting histories. It was really a pleasure to speak to you. I hope you enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the day.
allora, ci stiamo avvicinando
Now we're getting,
fine del nostro
we're coming towards the end of our journey, of our tasting. And from Puglia, we go and we stop in Umbria, in the very center of Italy. We have the king of Sagrantino. This is the Montefalco area. So the origin of this great variety, which is 100 years old, and we are talking about Arnaldo Caprai. In connection with us today, we have Vivian, and she will talk about the winery. And with her, we will taste this wonderful Sagrantino. Hello, Vivian. Good morning, Alessandra, and good morning to all of you. We are in Umbria. We are in the city of Montefalco. So in the very center of Umbria, with a winery that last year celebrated its 50th anniversary. So it's a mature winery for the area. Our flagship is Sagrantino, the one that you will taste today with two different versions, two different vintages. Thanks to the suggestion of our importer in, so we can appreciate the evolution of Sagrantino, which is surprising. I like to call Sagrantino as a wine with character, and having character means having personality. It's a very complex wine, structured wine, with very rich tannins, a lot of polyphenols, which is intriguing and interesting. This wine has a very long aging capability, from 10, even 20 years and above. And Sagrantino is a local grape variety that was rediscovered by Arnaldo Caprai and brought back to the market as a dry wine. Traditionally, Sagrantino used to be ripened. Sagrantino from sacrum in Latin was used in the Mass, actually at Easter, but as a sweet wine, while Arnaldo Caprai, the entire potential of this grape variety by refining its rich features, obtaining interesting selections, for example, Colle Piano in 25 years. These are the most famous selections, or some cru, for example, Valdimaro, that we tasted before. And this phenolic richness gives the opportunity to experiment in terms of traditional winemaking and also in terms of with techniques as full winemaking or new maceration techniques. So it's intriguing also from this wine alive, and it shows us that we need to understand it, we need to respect it, and this is what we have to do with Sagrantino. The tasting session exemplifies the meaning of Sagrantino. Sagrantino is a very impressive, massive variety. Some people call it rustic. It has a lot of personality, and over the years we have managed to take it, and I like this word. We have managed to understand very many elements of its nature and try to enhance them and highlight them. And there is, especially in vintage 2018, we also have 2014 reserve, and it's very educational. It helps us understand all the potential of this wine. Viviana, going back to what I was saying,
come tecnica, diciamo, all'interno dell'alimentazione per appunto riuscire a esprimere.
say you mentioned this internal winemaking, the best of the grapes. How have you achieved it, and what does it mean? So we began in 2011, and integral winemaking has some more steps versus traditional winemaking. Before fermentation, we have fermentative maceration at low temperatures between 40 degrees for 15 days. This is fundamental in oak, in small barrels, and it's almost static maceration, which is not for the wine, and it gives the opportunity to extract a lot and deeply the color and all the polyphenols. We have traditional fermentation, and immediately after we have long maceration time. The entire process lasts around 70 days from harvesting. So it's a sort of infusion. It's like making tea. It's like brewing tea. It's very static. Gives elegance, fineness, silkiness, and more richness to the wine, while reflecting its personality. And it's a technique that was introduced the partnership with the consultant, wine maker is Vera Lanfranconi, a woman, and she worked with Michel Roland since 2015. It's a common interest. Roland was intrigued by a grape he did not know, because he comes from Bordeaux, and working with a local grape like Sagrantino was intriguing for him. This is how the partnership started. Fantastic, thank you very much. So we have two different Sagrantino. Let's start with Montefalco Sagrantino Collepiano 2018.
Qualche informazione a proposito di quell'estate, perché poi cambiamo, oltre al vino cambiamo anche.
Some information about the vintage, because later we will change the wine and the vintage. So we'll talk about the vintages first, and then we will taste the wines. Well, 2018 was a very interesting year, balanced year. In the final stage in September, Sagrantino harvest grape, which is harvested in the second half or later than towards the end of September or early October. That is a crucial time for ripening and good temperatures, so it was warm but not too warm. So very balanced grapes in this final rush, and sporadic rainfalls in the moments. The fact that the weather was not really stressful guaranteed balance and finesse. Collepiano, 22 months in French oak, most of them of second stage, and then a lot of maturing in the beautiful. I am a lover of Sagrantino. There is one thing I would like to say. Sagrantino research has been, and it's the red grape with the highest concentration of polyphenols versus all the other red grape varieties. It's a lot of antioxidants, so it's a magnific wine. It's fantastic wine, and it's also a wine that is good for your health. A book was written about it. Roger Cole, a British doctor, came and visited us because he wanted to increase his knowledge of Sagrantino, and he included his Sagrantino in his book called The Wine Diet, because it's one of the healthiest wines. And our last wine for today, Montefalco Sagrantino Val di Maggio. It's a different area, it's a different municipality from the wine. What are the features or differences in terms of soil winemaking?
Sì, esatto, è stato cambiato, scusami.
Well, yes, probably not in, but instead of the 25 anni, we have Val di Maggio. Val di Maggio is always in the municipality of Montefalco, but it's a single vineyard. It's a specific area of the estate. It's close to a lake, and you feel the influence of the lake, especially in recent years. We are faced with a significant increase in temperatures and the presence of the lake Sagrantino hydrate oil more, so the hydric stress is lower than other areas in the estate, and this ensures balanced ripening, more balanced ripening, especially in the moments of ripening. But nature is indifferent, so it's adapting. This year was really, really warm, but plants got organized, maybe they produced less. So this year we have a more quality, increasing quality and less quantity. But definitely terroir and this specific area of Val di Maggio shows the fine elegance of tannins compared to other selections, for example. I do not know if you agree, but on the nose we have different aromas from the first wine. Val di Maggio is more perfumed, more direct.
Montefalco Sagrantino Collepiano ha anche questo.
Collepiano has this burnt, earthy note, like soil, while the other one is rounder, more perfumed, also on the side of the fruits. Yes, this is certainly affected by the area. Maybe we have fruit 2018, very, very different impact and this final sweetness that you perceive after the initial character. Thank you very much, Vivian. Any questions for Vivian? Vivian, I don't know if you heard.
Italo Calvino.
Collepiano, Italo Calvino.
Alla ricerca di oggetti misteriosi.
Searching for mysterious objects down and Vino for the first wine. This is the epitome of poetry and romanticism expressed by your wines. Thank you very much. I like this comparison very much. The unusual romantic of this I like it very much. Thank you very much. Any more questions? We apologize, we are a little bit late. Any questions? Maybe we can answer. Thank you very much, Vivian, for being with us and for showing the essence of this wonderful land, Montefalco, and the charisma of this wine, which are easy to recognize and very characteristic. Thank you very much. Thank you. Only one comment from Tokyo for the white wines. Appreciated both at the same time. Excellent wines and both very good. I always say that there is a wine for every occasion. So Pinot Gris can be for specific types of foods or for aperitif, while the other one from Pantelleria is softer and richer. It depends on the palate, the moment. I see some raised hands from Tokyo, so maybe there are more questions.
Dopo voglio sentire qui in sala se c'è qualche preferenza sui rossi.
And then I would like to know what you think of the red wines after your poem. Thank you very much.
Qualche aggettivo?
Scusami, i vini che hanno preferito?
Well, the favorite wine are Music and number 7, San Petrana and Colle Piano.
Sulla complessità, sulla struttura.
So you like a complete, richer, mature fruit, which is something typical of Puglia, also with this high sugar content. And the first, Sagrantino, Colle Piano. Yes, yes.
Sono anch'io d'accordo, anche se è difficile.
I agree, though it is very difficult to choose because there are excellent wines.
Allora, spero, se non ci sono altre domande,
No further questions. We apologize that we are a little bit late. Thank you very much for joining us on this masterclass, for being together with this journey around Italy, discovering local grapes. And these are our must-haves for today. Thank you very much and see you soon. Enjoy.